करनी बिन कथनी कथई अज्ञानी दिन रात कुकर सम भूंकत फिरई सुनी सुनाई बात कबीरा सुनी सुनाई बात करनी बिन कुथ कथनी कथई अज्ञानी दिन रात कुकर सम भूंकत फिरई सुनी सुनाई बात कबीरा सुनी सुनाई बात. So the title given to this doha is the ignorance prattle. That the ignorant senselessly echoes rhetorical stories of wisdom without any action. Karni bin kathani kathai ajnani din raat. A mere repetitive talk has bayed like dogs. So the ignorant senselessly echoes. Sunai baat. Kukar sama bhukat firai. Like the dogs, you see them as the street dogs, even your own dog also. One fellow starts barking, all of them will start barking. Don't know why they're barking. Everybody wakes up, a nuisance. As bayed like dogs. So am I also another dog barking? I hope not. The ignorant senselessly echoes rhetorical stories of wisdom without any action. A lot of storytelling going on. A mere repetitive talk. What do you gather from this? The message is simple. So perhaps Kabirji must have seen the street dogs making a lot of noise and he wrote a doha around it. See, they are able to relate to the philosophy in the mundane of things. What is the message here? Gayatri Ma, what do you understand from this?
It's like people who have got knowledge keeps on talking about it but does not practice it ignorantly, like they don't practice it.
No, can you make it a subjective exercise? Because this particular aspect, I think it exists in all of us.
Subjective, basically people hear a lot of things and they gain a lot of knowledge about it and they talk about it also. So literally they don't reflect on it and they don't really practice in their lives.
So there is no action. Okay. I'm trying to see how you all read it. Not that it is anything complicated, but I just wanted to get your perspective.
And it also means that dogs barking is just people blindly follow somebody who tells without their original thinking.
So ignorance seamlessly echoes rhetorical stories of wisdom without any action. Without any action refers to an action on your part. See, I have not done anything on my part. It's not, see, there's a difference between what you're saying is they talk and they don't live. That is not the point here. I am repeating something without any examination on my part. So we're not talking of knowledge and wisdom. That's a different thing here. But what he's telling is without any role by you, you just kept parroting. You just parrot what others have said, which he says is a mere mechanical repetition. If you go through that exercise mechanically doing things, it is of no use to you. So what should you do? Kashish, what should you do?
Guruji. My interpretation of that would be, again, don't just repeat what others teach you, but filter it through your internal systems and decide how it applies to your life, and then lead by example.
So the process is to take that knowledge and examine it with reference to your life, isn't it?
Yes.
And that helps to internalize the knowledge. And if this exercise is not done of internalizing, making it subjective, how does this knowledge has a relevance to my life? It's like science is a branch of knowledge which deals with the medicine, deals with health. But I need to see how can I use that knowledge to make myself healthy? How can I change my health? What's the use of me having all the knowledge of medicine and it not being healthy? And there are people who have so much knowledge, but yet they're not able to apply it with reference to their requirement. So if I'm able to draw an example to what Kashish here said, is like, when you go to a doctor with an X-ray, what does he do? They have that a backlit, they put that film against the backdrop of light and they examine it, isn't it? Exactly the same way, the light refers to the wisdom, the profound wisdom. X-ray is your personality, your deficiencies and your shortcomings. And you got to be very objective to look at your life, or help get a doctor where you seek a higher, wiser counsel to help you look at your life against the backdrop of knowledge so that you can take a remedial course and see where you're going wrong. So the film is the current picture of what you are, a current X-ray. So you put the X-ray against the backdrop of light and you examine it. This is what is required to the wisdom that has been laid, not merely you parroting what they have said. If I am also singing what Kabir ji has said and I repeat it mechanically and I send to you and you repeat it and then everybody is merely repeating, what's the use? It doesn't serve any purpose. But taking that wisdom, I examine my life against the backdrop. So I should not go through a mere mechanical process of repeating, narrating, but a conscious examination of your life against the backdrop of his knowledge. This application of the intellect is what that makes the whole exercise worthy and transformative. If this is not done, it just remains as a a cosmetic role in your life. It has an emotional role. That's about all. It give you a, oh, what I've done, we have gathered and chanted the Bhagavad Gita, or we have chanted Lalita Sahasranamam or Vishnu Sahasranamam. What is the effect of it? Pushpama, if we all start gathering and we all start chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam, what will happen, Pushpama? Pushpama is very serious this morning, which is not her nature.
Without understanding the meaning, if you chant, but if you understand everything, suppose Bhagavad Gita, when we are understanding and we are enjoying chanting, but all other things like Vishnu Sahasra and Lalita Sahasra and all, without understanding the meaning, if you go on chanting, it's no use.
It's of no use, isn't it? Having said that, how much of their valuable time is wasted as a mere aesthetic sense? People only have that aesthetic role. You know, it doesn't add any further value to their lives. Yes, ma. So what is the process? The process or the what's the path or the journey? I'm not talking the process, I'm sorry. The path or the journey here is to make their wisdom as my wisdom. What we are currently learning is Kabirji's wisdom. It is his wisdom. But how to convert that wisdom, their wisdom is my knowledge, but how do I make it as my own wisdom? To which he says, don't get into this mere mechanical repetitive exercise, but make that exercise worthy by you going through the process of consciously questioning and independent inquiry. Question it, analyze it, process what the information is. And that exercise is which helps you to make it your own. Hardly any, when I say hardly, a lot of them don't do this. As a result of which, there is piles of information. Disparity is, there's not much wisdom. Ignorance, prattle. I keep talking, you all keep listening. I don't know what effect is happening. Sometimes not saying anything. Hey, what's going on? Huh? So silence at least will make us think, no? Am I right, Sriniji? So please, you don't be silent. You please say something. Silence, I will be silent for a while.
I think the other way I read this is also that, people prophesize and preach. Are you walking the talk is another way to think about the same Doha. Otherwise, you're just sermonizing without any effect.
Mm.
The concept of internalizing is walking the talk.
Yeah. The end product is that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't internalize, if I don't process what, as we have initially read it or looked at, interpreted it, that if I don't question it and examine this knowledge into my life and change the process in my thinking, or if I have done so, the result is, as you say, you will walk the talk. But those who only parrot will not walk the talk. So as I said, there's only piles of knowledge piled up, but there's no wisdom. I know a lot of things. As the differentiation between knowledge and wisdom is you live it. Knowledge is you know it. So see, there at least to that extent, I must have enough wisdom to see where I'm not living it. It's not a question of others here. We're talking of ourselves. So how do I redirect this whole thoughts towards myself, rather than sitting and saying, oh, they just talk and they don't live what they talk, they only preach. But rather than same thing apply to oneself, then it becomes a sadhana for me, isn't it? So there's always a disparity between what you talk and what people live, the walk and talk. So how do you bridge that difference between what you walk and talk? So when I say this, it is not being done. Therefore, the disparity continues to remain, sir. There's only one thing that helps to bridge the bridge between walk and talk, or talk and walk. Either way you put it.
Intellect. Your intellect helps you bridge it, because you kind of understand that there is a real need for you that there is a gap, and therefore you need to follow it.
But intellect is already, what is intellect? Intellect is wisdom, isn't it?
Correct.
So if I already have wisdom, you're already living it, which is the intellect. But then where's the bridge? What is it that bridges the gap?
If there is a pain or a lack of having it that causes you to live it,
With the amount of pain and suffering everybody is going through, we all should be very, 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 very wise. Yeah.
it's true.
That alone you think would have transformed? That alone you think, does it change the course of one's actions in life? Not in everybody though. So just to give clarity to the question is, what bridges the gap between what you talk and what you walk? What bridges the gap? What is that thing what I should do to reduce the disparity between what values I appreciate, what values I live by? What is that I should do? And it's not being done. Think along, Sriniji. We'll ask Shashikanji, who is doing regularly.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaskar, sir.
We talk, we need to also practice. As you rightly said some time back, charity starts at home. Charity starts at home and charity leads also. Levels are concerned. So the practicing is concerned. That is more maybe important. Rather we have only ideas and we are only talking and when you see maybe the brotherhood, or as you rightly taught us, you are able to see yourself in others. Then charity flows. Then giving is also, maybe flows automatically. It becomes maybe part of your life. That is what exactly my belief is concerned. I had been thinking, okay, you started this session, lot of subjects had been coming to mind. Really thinking, made me to think maybe more.
Oh, I didn't want you to think so much, sir, but you're thinking more than what I told you to think.
Exactly, it is happening.
Correct, sir.
Exactly.
So whenever that happens, you can do switch off, sir. Some switch off button is there. No, switch it off. This fellow keeps talking. You don't have to keep thinking so much. Just switch off.
Sir, it opens ways. It opens ways because even in this kind of repetition, we need to listen again and again in life, which exactly makes the life better.
Yes, sir. The question precisely what I agree what you're saying, but the question to be precise is, what is that exercise we all have to do to bridge the disparity between what we talk and what we live? There's a disparity. You are talking with reference to charity, which is a concept. Whether I may appreciate it, but am I really being charitable? Am I having that charitable disposition? I mean, it's not a question of all the time doing charity, but am I having a charitable disposition in my life? So in many aspects of life, we got to see it. Okay, sir.
Exactly.
Right. So UK.
Namaste, Guruji. First of all, you become aware of your own, where you're lacking in implementing the knowledge that is being given to you, or the wisdom which is being given to you. And then you start internalize it, realize the actual change that has to be brought within you, or the improvement that needs to be done in your case, and try to implement it, try to follow it. See, it may not happen in leaps and bounds, but at least from a small scale, you can start and try to increase it.
Okay, you're right. I can't say you're wrong. You're absolutely right. But what is that exercise? What is that exercise that you have to do?
You'll have to get up during the Brahma Muhurtam, try to internalize the knowledge, do manana, and then try to practice it during the day. And then live it during the day.
Correct. So the exercise which bridges the gap between
The walk
knowing and living, the walk and talk, is internalizing the knowledge.
Yes.
And that happens through the process of conscious reflection, which is opposed to mechanical repetition.
Yeah.
So these are two extremities. Many people go through a mechanical repetition. Opposed to mechanical repetition is a conscious reflection, which is done in the early hours. And I'm saying that with some assurance that it's not happening. Happening to the extent where it should happen. Right. Thank you, Ma. So, Srinaji, it is this process of internalizing the knowledge, that process of reflection converts the knowledge into wisdom. But if you don't do that, you become the category of ignorant prattling. So it doesn't change the course of your life.
So I'm still asking the question. I understand the concept is you've got to internalize the knowledge. Well, what triggers that? What if I say I still don't? That's where I was trying to get. So I keep prophesizing. I don't even see the need to internalize. So what do you do at that stage? There's got to be a trigger for you to internalize and have a constant reflection, because you may think, I'm fine by prophesizing and continuing to not live or walk the talk.
But then the sheer disparity of imperfection hits you, the real lack of having the values really hits you hard, because end of the day, I'm ignorant. And you will start paying the price of your own actions. It's like me advocating health to everybody because of my practice. If I'm a doctor, I advocate health to every patient who walks in. And if I don't practice my health, like the other day, I had to take my dad to a cardiologist. And he will just take scribble and say, okay, do the echo, that test, this test, this test. I'll come back with the reports. I was just telling my dad, I want to put the doctor to all through this test and see how healthy that fellow is, because there's no health written to that fellow. He can barely walk. And what is this concept of health he is prophesizing to everybody? I don't see it written. I can barely climb a flight of stairs. I don't think he can climb even one floor he can climb up. So the ignorant will suffer. So as we remember, ignorance is bliss. And there's that element in all of us. I'm looking at it from my own perspective. When I say this, I look from myself. You must look for yourself. So is each one trying to self-administer this dose of philosophy? So that I become a better person, you become a better person. To the extent I'm ignorant, I don't see where I'm going wrong. I'm blissfully unaware of the consequences of my unmindful actions. I'm paying the price right now. I don't see it. So the ignorant will suffer. Ignorance is bliss. So I remember, I don't know whether you were there. I don't think you were there. We did a workshop on reflection. I think it was a half a day workshop we did on reflection. And one of the opening remarks of my presentation was, I said, ignorance is bliss, knowledge is guilt, and wisdom is, Katima, what was the word? You remember that? Any one of you remember that? I'm just trying to get to that. I'm just getting what is the exact words I use, the concept. Ignorance creates comfort. Knowledge gives rise to guilt, whereas wisdom brings about growth. So these three phases, Sriniji, ignorance creates guilt. But where there's guilt is there, but there are also consequences which you're not aware of. I can be unhealthy, thinking myself to be healthy, but my body is paying the price of my certain habits or indiscipline. And by the time it hits me, it's too late. But what comforts me is my ignorance. So ignorance creates comfort. Knowledge creates guilt, because I know it and I'm not able to live it. So it's I'm hiding that guilt within me. But whereas wisdom creates growth, brings about that growth or transformation, the change.
That slide is there with Guruji. Shall I post it now? Share it?
Yes, please, if you have, that will help. Yeah. There you go. Ignorance creates comfort plus a consequence. Knowledge creates guilt plus a consequence. Guilt also is a consequence, and the consequence is suffering, addition to the suffering. But in ignorance case, the consequence is the same as a knowledgeable person, but there's comfort there. Here there's guilt addition to it. But when you go beyond knowledge and get into the wisdom, you get the benefit of the wisdom where there's growth or transformation, and there is no any repercussions, there are no consequence, negative consequences. This was the opening statement, and then rest of the day we explored it and tried to understand what that meant. So the real spiritual medicine for your spiritual health is self-reflection, which is not being adhered to. I forget others. If you all as students of this knowledge don't do it, is being disrespectful to the knowledge and the Guru. You are not respecting my word. So that early morning exercise is paramount. If that is not done, there will be no transformation. I guarantee that. That I guarantee. You will remain where you will be, but it will only start creating guilt, deep guilt within you, because you know you have to do it. How long will you delay it? How long will you postpone it? And don't give me reasons why you can't do it. I remember once going up to my Guru and I was telling things, why I'm not able to do things. He told me, he interrupted me and said, don't tell me what you can't do, tell me what you can do. So don't give me reasons why you can't do it. Find reasons how to do it. Then you're an achiever. Can't do it, I can give the whole list of things, list of ways and means. So again, this Doha is trying to tell, don't fall a trap into that. Rather, examine, reflect. Then you will walk the talk. So to your question, Sriniji, if you don't examine and if you keep parroting, the sheer guilt will burden you. And the consequence of actions will completely break you down, you will shatter. And that point, as they say, if you don't learn through knowledge, you learn through experience. And you learn it in such a hard way. But till then, the guilt has been killing you. You don't realize that. Like a person who knowingly does a crime and unknowingly doing crime, there's a difference, isn't it? A child does certain things with ignorance, a child is pardoned. There's no guilt in the child. But knowingly, if you continue to do it and not change your course of life, I would question. In fact, it is better not to know it. So Harish, if I ask you in the chat, Gayatri, just share that slide again. Where do you think your best comfort or worst place to be, Harish? I don't see you, I can't hear you, Harish. Where do you think you're most comfortable here? Oh, most uncomfortable.
Well, Guruji, the first one is the most uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, I disagree with you. The most uncomfortable place to be is point 2.
Point 2.
Yeah, point 2, yeah. Knowledge minus, sorry, correct.
Not minus, knowledge equals.
Equals.
Oh, you thought it minus, is it? No, it's not minus. It's ignorance is knowledge creates, wisdom produces. So the deadly place to be is in knowledge, which is what you all are in now. You're faithfully coming and listening to this dialogue. You're acquiring knowledge. But are you doing enough to convert it into wisdom to make it your own? If not, that's the most dangerous place. Because you are learning this and continuing to live the life which you have lived. You're not bringing about a paradigm shift in your life, a thought process. If that doesn't happen, the most dangerous place. I would say better off not knowing all this. Ignorance is better. You get it? So the humanity falls into 3 categories. And it's proportionately you're ignorant, proportionately you are in a realm of knowledge, proportionately there's wisdom. So there's a proportion of all these 3 in you. And when you become wiser, the wisdom element increases, the ignorance drops, and the transition process of knowledge to wisdom doesn't create the guilt. So how to get over guilt is not gaining wisdom. Even the effort to get to wisdom will take care of guilt. The fact that you're putting in effort to gain wisdom will comfort you. But the moment you don't put in effort, guilt comes in. I may be unhealthy today. I'm unhealthy today because I've led an unhealthy life. But today I have taken a decision to change my course of life. I want to become healthy 6 months from now. The fact that I'm working towards it, the guilt is no more. I have not yet reached. My health is 6 months down the road. My ideal health state. But the fact that I'm working towards it, instantly the guilt is kicked out of my life. Instantly. You go, you do the exercise, you control, whatever you have to do, you have got a strict regime to follow to get to that ideal health state. And you're doing that. I tell you, the kind of satisfaction and motivation you get, and you become an example for others. Hey, don't we come across videos or clippings in the media, how these people who have been obese and how they go through the process of transformation, and they have to follow the strict regime, and they're told what not to and what to, and they're constantly captured the phase of transformation every week after week. And the kind of exuberance, the kind of joy, the kind of comfort, the kind of how they experience, what they feel. It's such a joy. I feel so happy for them because they're going through that phase. It's the effort that removes the guilt, not the result. So you don't have to wait for the result to come for the guilt to go. The effort takes care of the guilt. That's the reason we are saying the effort is doing that manana every day. Once you do that, you're already transported to the third category. You may not have wisdom, but you're already well and truly towards wisdom. That gives you a great comfort. Very technical, very, very profound, very sound concept. You need to understand the intricacies and ultimately get to the bottom line of just getting up at 5 o'clock, Harish. That's all you need to do. Every day, imagine you have a flight to catch at 8 o'clock. Get up at 5 o'clock. Don't give an option. There's no option. You don't have a choice. You have to get up. That kind of a dictatorship attitude you got to take to the mind. Bulldoze your mind. Don't try to fall a prey to your mind. If you fall a prey rest of your life, you will fall a prey to it. Okay? We'll come back. Okay, thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.